Good morning. Well, I've been in county judge now for almost 19 years, and this is the first time anything like this has happened since I've been in office. But let us share with you what we know today and then what steps we will be taking. Number one, the FBI was assisting the Rangers in the investigation of the issues related to their Precinct 2 constable. This morning, they issued a search warrant and went to the offices of the constable today and accumulated whatever evidence they came up with. It's important to remember this. The voters of Precinct 2 elected the constable. So she's an elected official. At this point, no one's been arrested, no one's been indicted, and no one's been convicted. So she has the constitutional right to continue in office till some of these things were to happen, if they do happen. Sheriff Salazar is taking some steps to provide additional security and to address any needs that may arise in the district. And so, Sheriff, if you'd like to say a few words.
Yes. Good morning. Yes, it's been a pretty eventful morning thus far. This morning, just before 7, I actually got a call from the FBI informing me that this had occurred. I immediately called Judge Wolff and let him know of what had transpired at Precinct 2's office. Of course, advised the judge that we'd be ready to step in and handle whatever may come as the morning shook out. So at this point, I've actually got one of the members of my command staff is actually there at the scene in the command post with the FBI, just making ourselves available to them, whatever it is that they might need. I've also got deputies there at the courthouse or at the JP's office, ready to augment whatever security needs there might be. And we're ready to serve. I've also been in communications with Judge Vasquez, the Justice of the Peace. We're working together to ensure that the processes of the court, whether in the courtroom or out serving civil process, none of that will adversely be affected. And so we're just here to make sure that public safety is not affected in any way. The constituents of Precinct 2 can certainly rest assured that the Sheriff's Office is ready to step in and handle whatever may come up from a county perspective. Thank you.
And Judge Vasquez will be conducting court as normally he would be, and we'll move along in those lines. Commissioner Justin Rodriguez represents Precinct 2, and there are a number of other issues that we've addressed to make sure that we have the security in place that we need in our parks. So I'll let him share with you that information.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. And I also want to share in the concern, obviously, that we have to make sure that there's a functioning Precinct 2 Constable's Office. From my perspective, the constituents that I share in Precinct 2, number one, as the Sheriff mentioned, there's going to be a continuity of service to make sure that they have public safety functions in Precinct 2. In addition to that, several months ago, we initiated a process because the Precinct 2 office, the Constable's Office, in addition to the other constable offices, were getting direct calls from constituents to reserve park pavilion space and get security in those parks. We changed that several months ago, so now when my constituents call and want to reserve a space in the park at Rodriguez Park in Precinct 2, that goes directly to the county park staff. And so those services are going to continue. I want to make sure that I assure my constituents that there won't be any lapse in service. Public safety is going to be there at the front lines, continuing to serve our community, whether it be at a park in the neighborhood or at the constable or JP's office. Thank you.
I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any details at all you can share with us about the investigation? Can I share anything with your office?
Well, no, sir. And the reason that the FBI called me is we've actually got a partnership with the local FBI office at the Sheriff's Office. We've got deputies, 2 now, assigned to the Public Corruption Task Force, among other task forces that are there. And so they were just calling to let me know because they knew that that I would imagine they knew that we were going to have to step in to fill some sort of role if requested. But I couldn't comment on specifics of their investigation. No, sir.
We talked with the constable this morning. She claims that this investigation is just proof that the old boys club is out to get her. What's your response to that? She especially mentioned you.
Yeah, I heard she did. Well, first of all, the county has no control or any amount of persuasion over what the FBI will do or what the Texas Rangers will do. These investigations have been ongoing, and they're certainly not directed from anybody here on the Commissioner's Court.
Now, we're waiting some fire marshal records, but we have heard that previously that Constable Vela had locked down a JP courtroom at that location. I was wondering if you guys knew anything about that. Could tell us about that one.
What you might be referring to, Garrett, is January of 2018. There had been some sort of dispute. I wouldn't know specifics of it, but at one point the constables, deputy constables, were pulled out of the front. There was a magnetometer removed, and there was some sort of refusal of service. At that time, Commissioner Paula Elizondo called me at the sheriff's office and wanted to know if I'd be willing to send deputies over to provide security. That was a no-brainer. Of course, we sent deputies immediately over, and they provided security for that day, and then we're prepared to assume custody that next day when the constable stepped in and said that they had it covered.
So she didn't actually physically lock up the courtroom.
I don't know that the courtroom was locked up, but I know that the door was left unattended, and that's a secured facility. It should be. And so whether it's necessarily my job or not, it's a county facility. It's dangerous to leave that unattended, and so we stepped up to make sure that public safety was not adversely affected.
Back to today's events, how long do you anticipate your deputies having to step up and cover the security of that courtroom?
As long as we need to. From my understanding, and the Judge Vasquez and I have spoke at length about this a couple times today, he's got a full docket tomorrow. But we want to ensure that whoever's got county business in that building, that they're free to come on down. Safety, public safety is not going to be an issue at all. If you've got business down there, come on down and conduct it. Judge Vasquez and I are fully prepared that look, there may be a deputy constable in that courtroom tomorrow, and that's great if they are. If they are not, he's going to shoot a call to me, and there will be a deputy sheriff in that courtroom. But rest assured, the building will be covered by somebody.
Today, is there nothing going on today? I imagine because of raids.
I wouldn't know about I know that there's nothing prohibiting the constable's office from doing business today. So they're probably out there business as usual. However, if in the event they're not able to perform functions, or if for whatever reason, the sheriff's office will step up and take care of whatever it is that needs to happen.
And I could mention too, I did speak with Judge Vasquez this morning. He did not have a docket scheduled this morning. His wife was having a medical procedure, so I understand there was no disruption in service as a result of the raid this morning.
What is his first name? Judge Vasquez?
Robbie Vasquez, Precinct 2, JP.
Who's in charge of Precinct 2 right now in terms of the constable's office? Is it the chief deputy?
No, well, she my understanding is the sitting constable is in charge. She hasn't been removed from office.
So she's gonna still functioning right now? Ms. Vela is gonna be doing her job?
As far as we know, she has not been arrested or indicted, and so she's not been removed from office, so she is the duly elected constable for Precinct 2 at this time.
Precinct 5 in Hidalgo County had something similar about a decade ago. They ended up dissolving the Precinct 2. Is that on your radar at this point?
Well, you're required by the state constitution to have at least 4 constable districts. When I got here, we had 5, and we did eliminate 1. But we have no constitutional authority to eliminate any one of the remaining 4.
Judge, this has been an ongoing soap opera with this office. Is there a sense of frustration that there's just yet another story coming out about this constable?
Well, I would say that we will probably know within the next few months, I guess, what the next step will be, and we'll have to wait and see. when you're an elected official, the voters voted for you and put you there. It's an office that you don't take lightly, and you have to follow certain procedures and certain requirements, and we'll be closely monitoring it.
Judge, just putting aside the issues with this particular constable, can you speak to what powers the Commissioner Court has to sanction a constable whose behavior is volatile or actions are volatile?
Well, there is a procedure. I think a citizen can file a complaint to ask for removal, and then the Commissioner's Court would have to act on that. So there is a procedure. I'm not familiar with all the details of it, but there is a procedure, and as this case moves along, we'll see if it reaches that.
Is that something that could be done before the next election?
Yes, it could. Yes, it could.
That's something that would have to be initiated by a citizen.
Yeah, I'm not that particularly familiar with the statute, but I know that we can get you a copy of it. But there is a procedure that you go through, and some other counties have gone through that.
What is the problem that you cannot comment about the investigation?
Well, when you're in the middle of the investigation, the worst thing you can do is be talking about it and trying to speculate what they're doing, and we just don't know yet.
Judge, if this wasn't an elected position, if he was appointed, would you have fired her by now?
If it's up to me, there wouldn't be one constable left in this county or anywhere else. It's a duplication of what the sheriff's office would do. It's a relic of the past that's stuck in the Constitution, and most people that go to vote on these offices have no idea who they're voting on. So if it was up to me, there wouldn't be any constables, period.
Did you say you had a anti-public corruption unit on the scene there?
So I have deputies assigned to the FBI's Public Corruption Task Force. Whether they're there on scene right now, if my deputies are there on scene, I don't know that. We assign them to the FBI, and then they call us when they need something from us.
Sheriff, I know your office has done a lot of work towards building up a good relationship with the public.
Yes, sir.
How does it make you feel to see another law enforcement agency acting in a way that may dissolve some of that trust with law enforcement?
Well, Mike, some of the allegations that have come up have just been, they're troubling. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And certainly in law enforcement, there's a lot of us that are doing hard work to make sure that we're building trust with the community. And certainly here in San Antonio, Bexar County, we're blessed that we're ahead of the curve as far as what some of the other major cities are seeing. So we've got a great relationship with the community that we serve here. We can always do better, but we're always working toward it. And any allegations that arise, whether true or not, perception is reality a lot of the time. And so yes, that sort of stuff does bother us and does hurt, but we have to make the distinction that as far as the sheriff's office in this situation, we're here to take care of business and make sure that our public is protected.
Okay.
You explained multiple times that there's been an ongoing conspiracy against her that involves you, involves the sheriff, involves the DA. What's your response to that?
I didn't understand.
So there's been ongoing allegations from
Constable
her.
Bell is claiming that
Yeah. I'm familiar with a number of her actions. While they may be a little bizarre, we don't know that they're criminal. And that's what this has to play out to see whether it is or not.
I think he was referring to the fact that Constable Vela has accused you and the sheriff
Yeah.
of there being part of an ongoing conspiracy against you.
You
That's
know,
your reaction.
she needs to carefully review the things she's done in the last year or two and look a little bit at herself rather than trying to blame everybody else for her problems. Okay, thank you.
Can we